Thank you, Avinash. We will start off with news from the region. The Brazilian government has said it will reject an offer of aid from G7 countries to help tackle fires in the Amazon rainforest. French President Emmanuel Macron, who hosted a G7 summit that ended on Monday, said 22 million US dollars would be released, but Brazilian ministers say the money is not needed and accuse foreign powers of wanting control of the Amazon, the BBC reported. Satellite data shows fires, mostly in the Amazon region, are burning at record levels. Commenting on the G7 offer of aid, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro's chief of staff said the resources are more relevant to reforest Europe. Mr. Bolsonaro has previously said his government lacks the resources to fight the record number of fires in the Amazon region. Facing mounting pressures from abroad, President Bolsonaro authorized the military to help tackle the blazes. Brazil says 44,000 soldiers have been deployed to combat the fires, and environmental crimes in the Amazon and military operations are underway in 7 states as the result of requests for assistance from local governments. Labor Minister of the Bahamas, Dion Folk, says he has referred the strike by doctors to the Industrial Tribunal, saying the dispute has affected and threatened the public interest. Folk said the move is in accordance with the Industrial Relations Act. CMC reported that under the legislation, once the matter is referred to the tribunal, it is the duty of any person participating in the strike or lockout to discontinue the same forthwith until the panel makes a ruling. Last week, the Public Hospitals Authority said it had reduced its services to emergencies only, adding it deeply regrets the impact of this action on the provision of care to the people of the Bahamas. The Bahamas Doctors Union said its members have not been paid for working on holidays and have also expressed concern over receiving contracts of no more than 3 years from the authority. The union said this places doctors at a disadvantage because it often gives the impression that they do not have stable employment. Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, on Tuesday gave the all clear for the reopening of the island as a slightly weakened tropical storm Dorian made its way through the Lesser Antilles on Monday night. CMC reported that she told Barbadians that they should recognize that there will be other countries in the region that may be affected by the storm. Acting Tourism Minister of Barbados, Kirk Humphrey, said that the island's lone international airport, the Grantley Adams International Airport, has been reopened, and there were no immediate reports of any damage to the tourism infrastructure. Barbados relies heavily on the sector for its foreign exchange and revenue. The Miami-based National Hurricane Center said that the tropical storm Dorian was moving through the Windward Islands, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines with tropical storm force winds. On the international scene, at least a dozen women who accuse financier Jeffrey Epstein of sex abuse are speaking out before his criminal case is dismissed following his death. The BBC reported that the hearing in New York has been scheduled to give the alleged victims a chance to address the court. A coroner ruled Epstein killed himself this month while awaiting trial on sex trafficking and conspiracy charges. Prosecutors say the investigation into Epstein is ongoing and charges could be brought against any co-conspirators. The tycoon was found unresponsive in his prison cell on August 10th. The FBI and Justice Department are investigating the incident to determine if there was any foul play. Epstein was accused of paying girls under the age of 18 to perform sex acts at his Manhattan and Florida mansions between 2002 and 2005. He was also alleged to have paid large amounts of money to 2 potential witnesses ahead of his trial, which was scheduled for the next year. Courtney Wild, who has alleged Epstein sexually abused her when she was 14, told the court she feels very angry and sad. She said Epstein was a coward who was able to manipulate the justice system. Virginia Roberts, who was also among the plaintiffs in court on Tuesday, had accused Epstein of keeping her as a sex slave when she was a teenager. Women in Bangladesh are no longer required to declare if they are virgins on marriage registration forms, the country's top court has ruled. The High Court ordered that virgin be replaced with unmarried. The other 2 options on the form, widow and divorced, remain unchanged. The BBC reported that women's rights groups, who had argued the word virgin was humiliating, welcomed Sunday's verdict. Separately, the court said grooms now also must declare their marital status. Marriage laws in the Muslim-majority Bangladesh have been criticized by women's rights groups as restrictive and discriminatory. Many girls in the country are forced into arranged marriages at a very young age. Baby African elephants will no longer be taken from the wild and sold to zoos after a near-total ban on their trade was approved on Tuesday. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species decided to tighten the rules after days of debate. The BBC reported that the European Union decided to back the ban late in the day, despite concerns, and the move passed by 87 votes to 29. But Zimbabwe, the main exporter, voted against, along with the United States. Zimbabwe and Botswana, which have healthier elephant populations than other African nations, have been permitted to export elephants to appropriate and acceptable destinations. Under that rule, the country has captured and exported more than 100 baby elephants to Chinese zoos since 2012, Humane Society International says. Tuesday's decision significantly strengthens the restrictions on the elephant trade. And that brings us to the end of regional and international headlines. Back to you, Avinash.